Deadpool Wolverine, does it live up to the hype? In short, yes. I think for a lot of people, this movie is going to be very pleasing, a very solid movie for a lot of people. And I say that because I do have quite a few problems with this movie. However, I would say for the most part, this is a pretty solid movie. So before I get into Deadpool and Wolverine, I want to briefly talk about my thoughts on the first two Deadpool movies. I think the first two Deadpool movies are fine. I think they are perfectly fine movies. My main problems with the first two Deadpool movies is that they really don't hold up through multiple rewatches. And, I know that a lot of people still love the first two Deadpool movies, and I think that they are, again, perfectly fine movies. I don't think they are horrible. I just don't think they hold up through multiple rewatches. They are the type of movie, especially, you see this with a lot of comedies where it just doesn't hold up after multiple viewings, because you get the jokes, you've heard them 1,000 times, so it's not really that funny, and it doesn't hit as hard the next time. I do think the Deadpool movies can be very funny, but I think the vast majority of the time with those first two movies, I just think yeah, I've heard this 1,000 times. It's really not that funny anymore. This is just all my opinion. I understand that there are a lot of fans of the Deadpool movies, but, that's just how I feel. Now, going into Deadpool and Wolverine, I had very mixed thoughts, because when the first teaser trailer came out, I didn't think it was looked all that great. I think that that first teaser trailer kind of looked very lame and basic, to be honest. And it was kind of giving me doubts for the film, honestly. But, hold on, for you Deadpool fans, the second trailer that came out, definitely, I thought definitely looked a lot better. The second trailer looked pretty good. So like I said, going into this film, I was very mixed. So after all that, what do I think of the final film? Well, it's pretty much a mix of that first teaser trailer and the second trailer, quality-wise. There was certainly things that I really liked about this film, but I do have quite a few problems. But first, I'm going to start with the positives. First of all, Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman together is really entertaining. It's very fun to watch. The way they play off each other is really great. Also, Hugh Jackman as Wolverine, once again, is great. It was really cool to see him come back as the character, and I think that his performance is amazing. Hugh Jackman knocked it out of the park with this film. There were several times where I was just in awe of his performance, so I think he did a great job. Wolverine in general, I just loved what they did with his character, his backstory. I loved it. Wolverine is probably my favorite part about the film. Also, the action is incredible. There's especially the opening action scene at the beginning of the film during the credits was amazing. It was so good. And the action in general, amazing. Now, the most important thing about a comedy film is the comedy. And I think that in terms of the comedy, it's a mixed bag. I think that there was several jokes that I thought were very funny. However, there is a large chunk that I just thought was a bit too easy. Now, I'm not saying that this movie is not funny, because again, there is jokes that I do think are funny, but to me, it's just too mixed. I think that there's jokes that are too predictable that you can see coming from a mile away, or the joke was just too easy to make and it's just kind of lazy in my opinion. But I think that, the vast majority of people are probably going to think this movie is very funny and have a lot of fun with it. The audience I saw it with seemed to love it, so you can take that for what it's worth. However, I will give Deadpool Wolverine something over Deadpool 2, and it's that they didn't really reuse jokes from the last film for the most part. That was a big problem with Deadpool 2, is that they reused a large chunk of jokes from the first film. But Deadpool Wolverine, thankfully, doesn't really do that. So that's kind of my transition into my negatives. And also, as I get into the negatives, I am going to be talking about light spoilers. I'm not going to spoil the big things, but just be warned that I am going to be talking about light spoilers here. My first negative is the villain, Cassandra Nova. She's not a terrible, horrible villain. I don't think she's, one of the worst MCU villains, but she's also not really that great. She doesn't have a lot of screen time, first of all. They just don't do much with her. I mean, she's in the void and she has this, army with her, and then it turns out she just wants to destroy every universe. She ends up in the TVA, and she's trying to destroy all the universes. And it's just lame. I think her powers are cool. I thought that was cool to see how her powers work, and but she just isn't a very compelling villain. Now, this movie does have a lot of cameo appearances from Marvel characters that I think a lot of people are going to be very excited to see, and a lot of them are pretty cool. So, before I get into my next point here, I want you to know that I didn't think that these characters were shit, or that that I didn't like seeing them. I just think that the introduction and the build-up to some of these cameos and character reveals, I'm not gonna lie, it was kind of cringy. That's really the best way to describe it. It seems like, these multiverse movies always try to do the same thing. Marvel especially, likes to do that thing where they build up to the character and then they just kind of stop the movie so that they can have an audience reaction. And I'm not gonna lie, it is starting to get pretty irritating. And I just think it comes across as cringy to me, because, they did the shit with, in Spider-Man No Way Home, the Tobey and Andrew reveal, and it makes, the reveal itself, I just think comes across as cringy, because that the next time you watch the movie, the character that is being revealed, and so it just comes across as like, okay, we know who this is, can we just move past this reveal? Because you can tell that the movie just stops so that the audience can gasp or whatever, or marvel at the character that's being shown. But it's, that was a huge problem with No Way Home, especially with multiple rewatches, because, when Andrew steps out of that portal, when he takes his mask off, there's just no dialogue, and it's just it's dead air. They just stop the movie, and nothing happens for 10 seconds, just so, they can have a big reveal for the theater audience. It's just so awkward. It's so awkward. And that's exactly what happens in Deadpool and Wolverine. I was really expecting Deadpool to make fun of it, but he doesn't. So it just comes across as me laughing at the movie instead of laughing with the movie, which is really weird to say with a Deadpool movie, but that's the case. And again, I will say again, there's some really cool characters that have a cameo in this movie. I think that the characters themselves were really cool to see. I just think that their reveal was just kind of laughable. Again, I'm not going to say who the characters are, but they just kind of walk into the room and they have that like kind of macho look, and they have this dramatic music playing, and it's just, I'm sorry, I just didn't, I didn't like it. Then you have probably what I thought was the dumbest scene in the entire movie. And it's towards the end, again, light spoilers here, but you know. So Cassandra Nova is about to wipe out every universe in the TVA, and so Deadpool and Wolverine show up, try to stop her, and Wolverine is about to sacrifice himself, and then Deadpool kind of jumps in and, you know, tries to sacrifice himself, and then Wolverine tries to top Deadpool, and they're both trying to stop Cassandra Nova, and, you know, they're holding on to the strands of all the universes, and it's meant to be like this really dramatic moment, and they even have like this weird like montage of all of the scenes in the movie that we've just seen, like, you know, not a montage from like the past Marvel Fox movies of Wolverine or Deadpool or some shit like that. No, it's just a montage of the movie itself, all of the scenes that we've already seen, and it's supposed to be like this dramatic, like, oh my god, Deadpool and Wolverine are gonna die, here's a montage of everything leading up to this moment. And it was really dumb to me. I thought it was extremely unnecessary, because you know that these characters are not gonna die, and you don't need the dumb montage. I mean, I just thought it was really dumb and unnecessary. It's probably, I think it's the worst scene in the entire movie. But those are really all of my main points that I wanted to get across. I don't hate this movie. I know this review probably makes it sound like I just hated this movie. I did not. There was a lot of great things in this movie, and stuff that I did really like. And again, in regards to the cameos, while I think that, so I'll be a bit more specific. Again, I'm not going to say who the characters are, but I'll be a bit more specific. There is a group of, there's some cameos that Deadpool refers to as the Others. And the Others are Marvel characters that, you know, are from past Marvel movies. That's all I'll say. Again, while I think that the reveals of the Others just came across as cringy and awkward, and it's not going to hold up on multiple viewings. However, there is other cameos, not the Others, but there is other cameos in this movie that I thought they did do a good job with the reveal. There was one particular cameo that I thought they did a really good job with, and I thought it was a clever reveal, and it got a huge reaction. You know, I think that was a really good reveal. But you know, the reveals of the Others, I just thought were just terrible. And again, I will say, there is one particular character whose reveal I thought was shitty, but the character itself was really cool to see. I thought it was really clever to add that particular character in, and it was, you know, the characters are cool to see, but I just think, again, their reveals were just a bit awkward. I think overall, I think this movie is fine. It's pretty much on the same level as the other two Deadpool movies for me. I think maybe the first Deadpool movie is still better, but in regards to how it compares to Deadpool 2, it's on the same level for me. And what I said at the beginning of the video with Deadpool 1 and 2 not holding up on multiple rewatches, I feel like Deadpool and Wolverine is kind of going to be in that category too. It's going to be a movie that is going to be fun to watch the first time, but the more times you watch it, it's just gonna lose it's gonna lose its hype, and it's gonna lose its oomph. And again, I fully expect that I'll be in the minority with this opinion, because I've heard that people are really loving this movie, and that's great. This is just my personal opinion, you know, everybody's entitled to their own opinion, and this is what I thought of Deadpool Wolverine. I do find it funny, though, it is being called an MCU film. It's officially, it's called the 34th MCU film. But I find it funny because very little of the movie actually takes place in the MCU. I think there's like literally maybe like 3 or 4 minutes that actually take place in the MCU. The rest of it takes place in either the TVA or the Void or the Deadpool's universe. So, you know, I just think that's kind of funny. I'm gonna give Deadpool Wolverine a 6 out of 10. Although I will say I am starting to get pretty sick of multiverse movies. You know, the multiverse style is just has been really played out at this point. You know, at one point, Deadpool does point out that audiences are getting sick of the multiverse stuff, but yet they're still doing it. You know, it kind of reminded me of Deadpool 2 when Deadpool is commenting on something dumb about the movie, and he's saying, oh, well, that's lazy writing. And he's commenting in this movie, which is a multiverse movie, how audiences are getting sick of the multiverse formula, but yet you're still doing it. So, you know, yeah, I just thought that was kind of silly. Yeah, the multiverse stuff, I just think they have to move on at this point, because it's just getting so played out and formulaic at this point. Again, I think that the vast majority of people are going to really like this film. So, you know, if you've seen it, I hope you enjoyed it. I did enjoy it. You know, I want to say that again. I did enjoy this movie. I just have problems with it. That's all, you know? So, hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see you guys in the next video. Have a good night.